Oh, tire eating. It melts them. It is almost like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. It just wants to, yeah, that's exactly right. It's called a monster for a reason. But I love this place. I absolutely love racing at this racetrack. It is, I've already raced 2 races here this week and just had a ball. Right. Right, it's Speedway. Well, now Marcus Smith. Marcus Smith. You know, it has to be in the teens. I mean, I don't know what it would be, but I'm going to say somewhere in the 17-second range. Oh, okay. Oh, 100% on that analogy. Um, the although the banking on the straightaways is a little bit uh, more of a challenge for these drivers, it certainly is. The comparisons are very similar between the two racetracks. Um, eh, Go ahead. Self cleaning. Yeah. Oh, no question. If there are multiple cars in the into this racetrack, it is it is so narrow on the straightaways on this racetrack that it closes up so fast, and there is nowhere to go. You know, you're jamming on the brakes, but if you can't get on the brakes quick enough, sometimes, well, you know, 2 cars sideways on the straightaways, there's just nowhere to go, and it just causes calamity and a whole lot of damage to a lot of cars if there's multiple cars involved in the incident on the straightaways. sorry. Speaking of Greg Evans, just got a phone call from Greg Evans. I've been having some ISP issues, and so Greg doesn't live too far from me, and he was checking to see if I was able to make it in.
No worries. We do want to thank everybody for their patience. One of the things that you do notice around the race course, and this is going to be a factor tonight, is the cameras within iRacing are kind of buggy. You can see the crowd that is not in the main grandstand, but you can't see the grandstands underneath them if you are not in the car and from certain angles. And so that's going to be kind of tricky. The artwork for this track was recently refreshed, Sam, and it's a little buggy.
I was going to ask if the provider for the camera shots had not updated for that. So
no, that's something that they were talking about. I was talking with Kendall Paul earlier in the evening, and so they were actually debating restarting everything. And I told them, that I was experiencing the same thing. So there are certain camera angles where the auxiliary grandstands do not appear. The people are there; they're just kind of floating off in space. Behind the wheel of the race cars, you should see most everything. You're not looking up in the grandstands too much anyway, Sam, when you're flying around this joint.
That's true. Mark, I do have a question for you, seeing you're all knowledgeable and you always seem to have the facts and always know what's going on in the statistics. I do have a question for you, and my question would be is, when was the last time that Ryan O'Donoghue was not at the top of the charts on practice speed in the Black Magic Grand National Series?
That's a great question. That's a great question, Sam. The last time that I can recall that Ryan O'Donoghue was not at the top of the speed chart in practice would have
in this series.
Yeah, it would have been at Daytona, so it would have been the first race of the year. Yeah,
gotcha.
He's been
I knew you would have that information. I knew you would.
Yeah, there's only been one.
Because I know the road courses in the trucks, or in the truck series, Logan Edwards has really been exceptionally fast in a lot of instances. So.
Yes, he has. We're actually kind of talking about that with everybody involved earlier today. Just kind of talking about how fast Ryan O'Donoghue had been in practice, and it's been noted he's got some great short run speed. Can he do it over the long run? You can get 125 laps out of a tank of gas here, Sam. They can run that entire final 110 lap stint on one tank. So it may be down to whomever can get the most.
Yeah, of course you can run it, but if you're not good at tire management, you're going to be on the rim.
You are most certainly going to be on the rims, Andy.
I've been in races this week where drivers were getting meatball flags before they can even run a tank out.
Yeah, and so this may come down to the driver who can save the good years. Speaking of drivers saving good years, we're about to see something. We're about to see a session where nobody is going to save anything. We are ready for qualifications here at Dover in the AMA Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series. Waiting for drivers to populate in, and we are going to ride. We haven't ridden with him in a while. Let's have a look at David Dunwoody. How about that? Dunwoody in the chat, he said, "Run the cushion," and there are unlimited green-white checkers. So we might be here a while tonight, Sam.
No, I've been a big fan of the fact that they run unlimited green-white checkers here. And you did get the message from Donald Green about your audio, right?
I did indeed. The automatic,
good.
The automatic kick it off didn't happen, and so. Definitely appreciate that. Here's the roll bar, and there you see the crowd floating in midair out there. I promise you that when I tested this earlier, I got behind the wheel and did some laps. They were there, and so the stands were there, and so. But that can be distracting for some of these guys, for sure.
Oh no, I'm watching that. I noticed that there's several drivers here tonight are having. I'm not the only one with the ISP issues apparently tonight, because I'm seeing.
Woo! Dunwoody's around on his qualifying lap. Dunwoody hard into the outside retaining wall, and he has shortened the front of that number 28 Ford by at least a foot. We're going to get back and have a look at Troy Carricker, because he is on the Speedway. Troy Carricker is coming to get his second lap now. Sam, what would you consider to be the faster lap, the first or the second?
Well, in these particular cars, the car is, until you get heat in the tires. I have seen drivers that can drive a very loose race car and pull out a quick lap, but I would always want to get heat in the tires the first lap, and then my second lap would be my money lap. That's usually how I would play mine out. I would not go full speed on that first lap just simply so I could get some heat in the tires. But I have seen drivers who are very comfortable with the loose condition and were able to manage it. In these particular cars, with the suspension travel that they have and the concrete, uh, and fresh concrete, not a lot of rubber laid down. Well, and in all fairness, the track temperature is very conducive to some good speeds tonight because the track surface is only at 89 degrees. This is actually good racing conditions for these cars, but yet that first lap will be a little loose.
There you go, and there are the conditions, as Sam alluded to, 75 degrees in the air, 89 on the track. Concrete doesn't heat up as much as asphalt, it seems, does it, Sam?
No, it absolutely does not. Of course, asphalt being the color that it is, will soak up more sunlight and more heat. It draws more heat that way. Concrete being more porous and lighter in color does not do that. And so those are two key factors. Plus, stress and expansion cracks are put into the concrete as well, and that helps the surface keep cool also.
It most certainly does. The other thing those expansion cracks do is result in increased tire wear, and we've already talked about tire, Sam. Watching Lee Campbell complete his laps, he's going to go to sixth quick. How about we take a look at Mr. Excitement, Justin Osterman? There he is, out in the number 53, but that's exactly right. The lighter color, the lighter color of concrete, it reflects the heat. It doesn't hold it in. It's more porous, so it doesn't have a chance to hold as much heat in. The other thing
Yes,
is
sir.
Osterman, very loose. The other thing that kind of surface does, Sam, is it does not really accept rubber all that well.
It takes a little more time for it to feel that more porous race surface, but over time you will really start to see how it begins to adhere more and more rubber as the run goes on. This is a 200 lap race, so by the end of the race you're going to be able to see significant black lines on the racetrack where the rubber buildup will start to accumulate, but it does not do it as quickly as asphalt does.
Very, very true. And watch out for those dark lines because that's where the speed is. Unlike some other tracks that you may see, once concrete gets rubbered in, that's actually good for the racing. It's not a negative. We are.
Oh, yeah, no, these drivers are begging for some of that rubber to be put down onto the racetrack so that they can get some grip. But these cars and this particular track, it will be that these cars will be exceptionally loose on the first lap, maybe even the second lap. But after that, the car will begin to tighten up gradually, more and more and more and more and more.
It most certainly will. And Sam, we are ready for a starting grid. How about that?
Oh, I can't wait. I've been looking forward to some more oval racing. This crowd, I know that some of these road courses have gotten some of these drivers a little down, so now they're feeling a little bit more of their oats here, turning left and going really fast. So you couldn't get a better fix for that addiction than Dover Downs.
You most certainly could. On the pole tonight, Greg Evans, 156.517 miles an hour. He'll have Ryan O'Donohue alongside. Matt Sisler is gonna start third. Kendall Paul, he'll go from fourth. In fifth, Brian Wasserman. Lee Campbell will go from sixth. Troy Carricker is going to start from seventh position. Justin Osterman, eighth. James Hodgson is ninth. And Joseph Klein will take the green flag in 10th, Sam. In 11th, how about Sean Merriman? Colby Pierce will go 12th. John Hutchins, 13th. David Dunwoody, 14th. Brian Sharp is 15th. In 16th, Eric Corder, Keith Graham, 17th. Robert Smith, Donald Green, and Vance Fisher are going to round out your top 20. Randy Dunlap and Barry Seaman are the final two cars on the grid. Neither one of those automobiles took time. And Sam, man, are you ready? This is going to be
I'm
some
so ready. I'm jacked. I love racing here at Dover. I love watching races. I love racing at this racetrack. I have raced with Greg Evans at this particular track. This is his feeding ground, so I'm interested to see how people are going to be able to manage running with Greg in these particular instances. But I know that we have fast drivers here. I'm excited to see what Matt Sisler is going to do. He's been kind of stuck in some road course stuff, but I know that he is I hear through the grapevine, he's a prolific oval racer, so I'm excited to see what Matt's going to be able to do. And then there are other drivers through the field who I'd love to see have good finishes, like Sean Merriman and Brian Sharp and several others. Let's go racing. Buckle those belts real tight. Let's do it.
Green, green, green.
Barney's got the green flag in the air. Greg Evans leads him down. We have a green flag here in the AMA Black Magic Studios Grand National Series from Dover. Looks like we've got everybody.
This track's going to be something that where these drivers are going to be a lot of bottom feeders to start this thing off with. At least until the car starts to get tight, and then they'll start moving those lines up a little bit. But typically at these races, most drivers are wanting to hug that bottom line, and it really is the fastest way around the racetrack.
Most certainly is, and just like that, we are one lap complete here at Dover, working lap number 2. And there you have the leaders. Greg Evans, Ryan O'Donohue, Matt Sisler. They're going to make up your top 3. Kendall Paul, Brian Wasserman are your top 5. Back deeper in the field, the battle here is between Lee Campbell and Troy Carricker. They get single file. You're going to want to get single filed out pretty doggone quick here, Sam.
Yes, sir. Yeah, running the high line early without that rubber buildup on the concrete, it really can start to wear the tires a little quicker than you want them to be wore down. And the drivers are going to want to get down so that they can go ahead and take advantage of that rubber buildup on the bottom. And then as they go through the run, and the car begins to get tighter coming off of 2 and 4, then they can start moving their line up. Me personally, I'm a diamond racer here. As the laps go on, I love to diamond each end of the race course. It just helps me with my drive off, and it's exceptionally good for me with my tire wear and my driving style. Some drivers are very comfortable with that. Some hug the line, and some will run one line up. And I've even seen some run Harry Gant lines and do very well here.
Yeah, that's a great point, Sam. We've got side-by-side action. Joseph Klein to the top. He's looking on James Hodgson. This is a battle for 9th and 10th as we approach already 5 laps complete, getting ready to get toward lap number 6. We've got a good crowd on hand here tonight, Sam. Already indeed. We've got Donald Green checking in along with Katie Green. I do want to welcome them to the stream. David Dunwoody, of course, he's already been in and advised that he is going to run the cushion, Sam. I spotted him for a race, and there's Dunwoody just on cue. He's right around the top, and he's already slideways in that number 28.
You gotta love a man of his word.
You know, I spotted for him at the Chili Bowl last year, and in doing so, wore a hat that I acquired at a World of Outlaws race. You know what that hat said, Sam?
No, what did it say?
It said "Run the cushion." And so I know next to nothing. It's been a long time since I've been on dirt. My advice to Dunwoody the entire night: well, you're going backwards because you're not running the cushion. He darn near, and that's a guy that's very good on dirt. He almost made it to the A main of the iRacing Chili Bowl last year. He was one
that's
spot.
Impressive.
He was
impressive.
He was one spot short. He finished 5th in the B main. In the top four.
I think it's
transfers.
probably my age, but I have a tendency to really misjudge the cushion when I run dirt, so it's hard for me to do that. There was a day, but I guess with my age, I'm losing that bearing, so to speak. We do have a new leader, by the way. Somebody has jumped out to the front and starting to pull away.
Yeah, that's Ryan O'Donohue, and I got to think that Greg Evans is just kind of keeping his powder dry in that number in that number 2, the familiar Deuce. Is just kind of going at his own pace right now. You can't win the race on lap 10. You can certainly lose it. Greg Evans, more than happy to let Ryan O'Donohue swing past, and there's the onboard from Greg Evans looking up, and that's got to be so weird for these guys to see the crowd floating in the air as they go around. Normally you'd see billboards there. That's just a glitch. With the camera angles and the new artwork, and I'm sure iRacing will get that fixed. But Do want to thank Whiplash Simcams for the awesome shots. We're riding on board Greg Evans as he looks at Ryan O'Donoghue, and he is going to look out the back, and he's got quite a gap, about 0.6 of a second on Matt Sisler. So Greg Evans running well. Do want to thank Mike Rigney for checking in the ISRA Racing Series, and you can see the Sim Gaming Expo ISRA IndyCar Oval Series right here on the P1 Broadcasting Networks, 9:35 on Monday nights. There's off the back of Greg Evans.
Now, with these, in this particular series here at the AMA Black Magic Studios Grand National Series, we do have stage breaks. Oh, and Justin Osterman really tags the wall there on the backstretch there, coming off of 2.
You know, it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that, Sam. I put just so you're aware, I put the camera on most exciting for a few moments. It went right to Justin Osterman. It immediately went to that 53. And I was just about to say something.
Justin will come back and watch this broadcast, and that's just going to bring a smile on his face if he's telling that.
You know it is. But Justin Osterman, he's made his way to 5th, but his car may have walloped the wall earlier. We're already 14 laps down. Sam, you mentioned the stages. They are 40 and we're going to get stage cautions at 45 and 90, and then we'll have 110 laps to the end. So just kind of
means, as you were alluding to before qualifying, is that these drivers, there may be some that may try and go the distance on one tank of fuel there in the last stage.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the strategy, and we saw that. Believe it or not, we got a caution on the Speedway. Caution, Keith Graham,
and it's
hard.
And who is that? That is who I think it is. That's Keith Graham. Yeah, Keith Graham's involved.
Yeah, it is Keith Graham. We're going to have a look. That is also, well, let's see. Here's Keith Graham. He is in the 09, and you've got Vance Fisher in the 73.
Oh, Keith gets into the wall coming off of 2. Then he tries to correct it to keep it against the wall. And then Vance Fisher's there. And they make contact with Keith Graham, just kind of careening back and forth, and he just collects Vance Fisher, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's something that you've got to be cognizant of. You see Vance Fisher down low on the Speedway. There you see Keith Graham. He tags the outside wall, tags it twice, comes back across nowhere for Vance Fisher to go. And they're going to spin. Keith Graham going to spin off the nose of the 73, and they're going to get each other collected into the inside wall. And just like we said earlier, Sam, everything moves to the bottom of the Speedway here. I don't know that Vance Fisher hit.
No, Vance was under power. He was under power there, moving around on the infield. He never hit the nose of the car until he kind of bumped the tires.
Yeah, I don't think Vance Fisher. I don't think Vance Fisher hit it really hard. Keith Graham took a heck of a lick to the right side and then finished his car off down to the left. He's going to have significant repair. Vance Fisher, though, I don't know that he
looked like he was moving, and he was going to try and get back on the racetrack, and then he just stopped, and then he punched out. That's really unusual. I mean, we're so early in the event. I hope that he stays.
I would
early in the event.
I would too, Sam, and maybe some of that is frustration on the part of Vance Fisher. Just tow it, get back to the pit lane, get your car fixed, get up, get a refreshment.
Vance was involved in a very unfortunate event at Atlanta, and it was just a tough racing deal that he was involved in, where a car come across his nose, they made contact, and he gets wrecked out early in Atlanta, and I know that was very frustrating to him, as well as some of his fans, and so that were tuning into the broadcast. And I would just, as early as we are in the event, I would hope that he would at least stick around and see if he can't make up some time, but it looks like he's going to go another lap down here.
Yeah, he most certainly is. That's not a very good view of the inside of the Porsche 911 pace car, is it?
Well, it's a great view of the trunk.
It most certainly is. We are under caution here. Lap 19 of 200 at Dover. Sean Merriman was the only car that pitted under that yellow other than Keith Graham and Vance Fisher. And so kind of keep that in mind. It's the Ford Mustang pace car, not the Porsche 911. But Sean Merriman did come in He did not affect any repair. He did take 6.6 seconds worth of fuel, Sam. So my thought with that is that's a move to try to improve your track position when the yellow comes out here in another 25 laps. Don't have so long on your stop. Do want to thank everybody for checking in with us tonight in the Blackmagic Studios AMA Grand National Series. If you haven't already done so, make sure you smash the like button on the video, ring the bell to subscribe, and be notified of all future iRacing IndyCar broadcasts. The pace car is off the speedway, and we are back to racing action. Barney, green flag in the air. Here we go, Sam.
Green flag, green flag.
Yep, looks like Ryan O'Donoghue's going to take advantage of this restart zone so he can jump back out into the lead. He probably will not get any kind of battedness out of Greg Evans here.
Just as you say that, Greg Evans pulls the deuce right up on the left rear corner of Ryan O'Donoghue. If he gets any closer, he's going to be sitting in the seat of the 14. There goes Greg Evans to the bottom. He's going to take the lead of the Diamond State 200.
I don't know if that was much Greg taking it as much as Ryan conceding it as high as he went up on the racetrack on entry there.
You know, and that could
There's
very...
Matt Sisler. I'm eager to see how Matt Sisler actually finishes this race and how he conducts his strategy for this race. Look at Ryan O'Donoghue really experimenting with that high line. He is really starting to feel the track out now. He knows he can take the lead, and now he's trying to find other lines that work for him. Oh, this is interesting. I think Ryan's actually using this first stage as an experimentation.
I'd have to believe that most of the...
there's a little brush there for both he and Greg Evans.
They are indeed going to flip it back here. Troy Carricker, Joseph Klein, they're in a battle for 8th and 9th. Joseph Klein going to go through on the bottom, and there's David Dunwoody. He's going to take to the bottom of Troy Carricker. Dunwoody not on the cushion. He backs out of that move, and he's going to move his car more or less to the middle line. He has James Hodgson and John Hutchins in hot pursuit of the 28. Get back up to the front, though. You were talking about Matt Sisler. I've actually seen him race here. One of the earliest partners of the P1 Broadcasting Network, the NTRL. My first broadcast was from Dover. It was the first time I ever went live. Yeah, from Dover Downs. And Matt Sisler was on the podium in that race. So,
well, to answer my worrisome question, Vance Fisher has punched out. He has taken that car back into the garage area and called it a night.
He most certainly has. Keith Graham remains on the pit lane, 5 minutes under repair. In case you're interested, Sean Merriman, who made the stop under yellow, 6.6 seconds in the box, which indicates fuel only, maybe some light repair, certainly no tires. Sean Merriman restarted in 20th. He is back up to 15th spot, and there's Merriman. He's got about a second up to Brian Sharp, but he's making that track position back up. Next best battle.
Now, I will tell you this. Some drivers at this particular track, they do like, even with the tire wear way that it is at this particular track, some drivers really like having a full fuel load on the car. They have a better feel for the car with the more fuel that's in the car.
You know, and that's a great point, Sam, and that's one of the only ways that you can affect the handling in a fixed setup race. You can change the steering offset. You can change the quickness of the box. You can change the brake bias. You can take 2. You can take rights only. You can take lefts only. You can take 4. You can change the fuel level. That's about it. Watching this race between Troy Carricker, Lee Campbell, this has been interesting. 7th, 8th, and 9th have changed hands, Sam, on a number of occasions.
Yeah, this seems to be the hotbed of activity right here with these cars from 6th on back to 13th. These cars are all really closely hanging out and looking to take positions.
It most certainly is. Looking at
Dunwoody washed it way up the racetrack right there, and that checks up Hutchins behind him. and Colby Pierce, and he goes way up to the top again, and that opens the door for Hutchins as he goes straight to the bottom, and it looks like he's going to make this pass on David Dunwoody.
Yes, sir, and that is intentional from David Dunwoody. He said he was going to run up there, and that's what he's doing. John Hutchins gets past him. Now, Dunwoody and Colby Pierce are in a Discord channel together. They are good friends, and it would not surprise me if they are intentionally backing up the corners, running extremely high, and they want to get a read on the tires. Brian Sharp, another member of that Dark Horse Performance crew.
If you watch their line, it's a very high, it's a mid to high entry. And then watch how Dunwoody and Colby Pierce both, well, they didn't do it this particular lap, but the laps prior, they would a mid or high entry and then really dump the second corner off and come off low so that they can get a big run off the bottom.
Yeah, and there you go. That's what this kind of looks like from a telemetry aspect. You can see Dunwoody, he's down to 128 miles an hour. In the corners, he turns the car left and gets it down. The last thing that you want to be experiencing here, Sam, is getting back to the gas too early and getting a push off of either corner, because the wall almost wants to reach out and grab you as you come off the corner here.
Oh, it's brutal. And the contact, the way that the track is designed and the banking coming off of 2, because it's almost like you're coming out of a hole. And so when you're coming out off that rise off of 2, is that the way that the back stretch and the front stretch are banked, it just throws the car straight into the wall, and it just pancakes the car hard right onto the side. It doesn't throw the nose out there, it just throws the whole car out there. And the impact can be substantial.
Yeah, there are no soft hits.
Just what we saw with Keith Graham.
Yeah, there are no soft brushes with the outside or inside wall here at Dover Downs.
Yeah, there's no Darlington stripe at this racetrack.
No, it's
the Dover dent is what it's called.
Yeah, you're not going to hit it. You're not going to have a light hit here. You're going to hit it. You're going to hit it hard, and you're probably not going to limp away from it. This track hurts when you hit something hard. And you mentioned open wheel races. That's why they don't come here anymore. The impacts were so aggressive in those cars that it just wasn't feasible to race here. Now, this track wasn't always concrete. At one point, it was, up until what, Sam? When did they concrete it? As we watched Lee Campbell and John Hutchins?
It was in the late 90s, I thought.
Let's see. I'm going to try to look that up. It hasn't always been. Been concrete. Yeah, 95, which is about the same time they concreted Bristol, if memory serves.
They actually, it was controversial at that particular year. I thought it was in the 90s, but it was kind of controversial when they did it, because when they did it was during the off season, which was in the winter of '94, and so there was a lot of debate about pouring concrete and getting it to cure in order for it to be able to handle the stress of high bank racing, and doing it in the winter is that the concrete would not be able to have that kind of resolution and be able to do that. And so over the years they've come to find out that it really wasn't as much of an issue as they thought it would be. But the first Cup Series race on that particular surface, as I remember, was in the mid 90s. So.
Yeah, it was spring of '95 or early summer. The dates at Dover were always kind of close together. There was one in the early to midsummer. Well, there was one in the early to midsummer. June-ish was the first race, and then the second date was usually somewhere around somewhere in September, as I recall. It was sometime after Labor Day is when they would come back and run the second date. It was kind of like Pocono in that regard. Pocono's dates were always the closest together. There were points where we're watching Greg Evans as he's leading it here, lap 40 of 200 complete, getting ready to grab lap 41. Greg Evans has this stage well in hand. Everybody else on the Speedway, not really much in the way of close battles. Maybe it's 8th and 9th. James Hodgson and John Hutchins are the two closest. Yeah, these are the cars that are closest together: Klein, Hodgson, and Hutchins. But it wasn't quite as close as Pocono. Pocono at one point had 2 races in the same month, if I remember correctly.
Oh, I remember that. It was
Yeah,
always a mystery to me is how they would get races within 2 to 4 weeks apart from each other. It was always mind-boggling to me that they would do that, but they did.
yeah, they did do it, and you have to remember, for a long time, Dover, Delaware, and Pocono, Pennsylvania, were the only two northern tracks really. I mean, NASCAR would go out to California, but as far north as they went was Dover and Pocono, because
Hmm.
you got to think until the mid '90s, they didn't go to Indianapolis. Kentucky wasn't there yet, right? New Hampshire wasn't on the schedule until the mid '90s. Um,
Right.
and so there were no northern tracks. It was, if you wanted to go to a NASCAR race and you lived in the Northeast corridor, it was either Dover or Pocono, and that was it. Now this track, I mean, it's not, and it's this track is not far from major cities. Matter of fact, Philadelphia is right up the road. Um, it's um, it's not that far from New York City either, is it, Sam?
Not being in the Northeast, but those states are so stacked up on on top of each other. Nothing is too far from New York City.
Yeah, they're not. It's on the Acela line. So Dover, if you
as,
look at
uh,
a,
as our administrators close pit road in anticipation for the first stage, and so no one can pit at this particular juncture if they had any inclinations of making up track position.
they most certainly will. Justin Osterman just moved around Ryan O'Donohue for fourth spot. Mr. Excitement continues to move himself forward. Looking at the right side of that 53, if he pancaked the wall earlier, it doesn't seem to be any worse for the wear. But Greg Evans is going to be the winner of the stage. There he is. He's going to come to the line to get it. Matt Sizzler is going to be second, and there's Matt Sizzler. Kendale Paul, Justin Osterman, Ryan O'Donohue all across the line. Then Brian Wasserman, and we haven't mentioned Brian Wasserman all that much. He's going to bring it home sixth in this first stage. Klein,
Well
Hudson,
done, Brian. Well done.
yes sir. Klein, Hodgson, Hutchins, and Carricker are going to be your top 10 as we get the end of stage number 1. And there is the pace car. Dover, by the way, is about equidistant from Baltimore, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia. It's a little bit further up the Acela line in New York City, but not too much for a day trip, I wouldn't think.
Right, right.
But yeah, it for a long time. It was the only race up here in this area.
Yeah, before New Hampshire, and yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. It was the furthest north that these drivers went.
And then you've got Pocono, Pennsylvania, just across the Jersey border, from just across the New Jersey border in eastern PA. That's more the track that served New York City in that area. But Dover, not too far away, and these two tracks not all that far from one another, maybe a couple hundred miles at most, and so drivable certainly from each. But they were you had the Glen, but they only went up to Watkins Glen once a year, and that's a road course, right? And they didn't do that until the late '80s either, when NASCAR bought the facility.
Hmm.
So we're going to see Sean Merriman and Robert Smith. They're going to be the two cars that stay out. Everybody else, as you can see it is a mad dash onto the pit lane. Everybody is coming off.
Yeah, now he was one of the only ones that pitted at the first caution around lap 15, and so as you alluded to earlier, it seems that he only took fuel, but I mean that's a 30 lap run that he has on these tires. So I'm just wondering if he's trying to get a bonus point by leading a lap. Will he pit here?
I would think so.
He's not going to pit. He's not going to pit.
No, he's going to stay out. And Sean Merriman, it could be he's saving a set of tires. He thinks there's going to be some.
There were 3 sets of tires outside of the set that you started on. There's 4 total. And with that in mind, you would think that there would be plenty of tires, but saving a set of tires may not be a bad idea. However, the ground you lose in this particular stage may be too much to overcome unless you were the lucky dog or something of that. It's interesting. Me personally, I really appreciate drivers who try to come up with a strategy that works for them and tries to step out of their norm. that they're trying. They realize they may not be as fast as other drivers, but they're willing to take a chance and roll the dice on something else. So I have great respect for drivers who do those kind of things. Now, Sean Merriman in this instance is really going to have to be very careful on this restart, because on older tires on a restart, these cars will get out of shape incredibly quick, and they will not go straight. They will go right into the wall.
Well, and let's not forget, it's not just Sean Merriman up there. You've got the 11 of Robert Smith. You're looking at that. You're looking at that flame painted number 11. Robert Smith didn't stop either, and he has not stopped in this event. Both of those automobiles are on the front row as we get the green flag from Barney, and we're going to see exactly how much purchase those old tires get.
Oh, that's a great start. He did spin the tires a little bit, but that's a great start by Sean Merriman. Fantastic.
Most certainly is. Merriman gets the break. Robert Smith is headed straight for the back. He got his TV time. And there he is in the wall.
Matt Sisler says, I want to take charge here.
Yeah, there's Robert Smith going to the back. Matt Sisler going for the lead. And now Sean Merriman is in trouble. He's got...
Yeah, well, I just want to tell the audience that Sean Merriman is not down on power.
No.
There are not parachutes hanging off the back of his car. This is the difference between 30 lap and fresh tires.
Yeah, it most certainly is. Do want to welcome Shelby Carricker into the chat, cheering on her husband, Troy. You're going to see him come into the picture. There he is in the number 94 multicolored machine. They're going to get 3 wide here.
Oh, they're 3 wide. 3 wide, John Hutchins and Colby Pierce. Sean Merriman, that was so close coming off of turn 4 there.
I think Merriman and Pierce both bailed out of that, and John Hutchins goes through. You just watch Sean Merriman go from the lead to 13th in about 3 laps. We're going to get back to the front because the challenge is here. Matt Sisler has grabbed the lead from the deuce of Greg Evans. Ryan O'Donohue, the rapid man in the number 14, he is in third. And we'll see, Sam. Ryan O'Donohue went to the back a little bit early. Let's see if he's able to come up with a sustained charge here in the second stage and stay more with Greg Evans. He fell all the way to 5th in that first stage.
He did, but I really honestly believe, after talking with Ryan occasionally over the last few races and just trying to encourage him, is that I really believe that Ryan is becoming more and more of a student of his racing, and that he can practice and practice and practice, but there are some astute ways that you can go at a race and learn more about the race, how it unfolds, what you would like to do, what lines you can run, what's effective for you, what's working for other drivers. You go to class when these things start, and I think that's what Ryan O'Donohue is trying to do here.
Yeah, he's definitely studying. He's definitely studying the rear of the deuce in front of him. Greg Evans is studying the rear of Matt Sisler in the Three Birdies Golf Company Chevrolet. Greg Evans is trying to figure out how he's going to get around Matt Sisler. Matt Sisler.
Oh, you can bank.
Oh, there he goes.
Because he's not. Yeah, he is not a follower. He likes to be out front.
Yeah, don't be fooled by the television panel on the deuce. He would much rather be in the lead of this event. He got to the right rear quarter panel of Matt Sisler, didn't take advantage. There was just a hair contact. Greg Evans backed out of it, and he'll continue to run second. But there's Evans, Ryan O'Donohue following him, and then behind those two, you've got Kendall Paul, Mr. Excitement, Justin Osterman, Joseph Klein. A little bit further back, Brian Wasserman continues to run 7th. He's the last car kind of in this lead train. Behind them, you've got 2 cars, James Hodgson and Lee Campbell. Then a small interval to John Hutchins and Colby Pierce. And then another small interval to Troy Carricker. Carricker just grazes the wall, but he has a massive margin over Eric Corder in 13th, 1.6 seconds. As you look out of the look off the rear deck lid of the number 94 of Troy Carricker.
I think Brian Wasserman is probably going to be the quiet storm here. He's just running his race. I'm interested to see how he's going to run this final stage, but he's just quietly putting himself in a position where he feels like he's comfortable. As he looks on the inside of Joseph Klein here in turn 4, I don't think he'll turn.
No, Sam, he's not trying anything on that bottom line. I'll tell you who is trying something on the bottom. That's going to be the number 53 machine. He looked to the bottom of Kendall Paul, and I thought for certain sure we were going to have a Mr. Excitement moment. Not quite. Osterman backs out of it, thinks better of it. He and Kendall Paul live to fight another day. But that was about to be interesting. Ryan O'Donoghue's looking on the high side of Greg Evans as well.
Look at that line that Kendall Paul's doing, that high, mid to high, and then really a big drive off. And some drivers will like to do that crossover move to try and get some speed down the straightaway so that they.
Whoa, Justin Osterman loose!
To the side of Osterman. Osterman saves it. What a masterful save! Unbelievable that he saved that car.
There is no way that just happened, and we're gonna get.
I cannot believe he saved that race car.
We're gonna get in the cockpit of Justin Osterman, and we're just gonna watch Justin's hands. There's the contact, and watch Justin Osterman work the wheel. That car was gone when it starts heading for the outside wall like that here at Dover. That car is not gonna come back. Justin Osterman somehow gets it off the wall, and he's somehow able to drift it along the main straightaway. There goes Brian Wasserman past him. The tires on
what
Justin
a handful of
Osterman.
steering wheel. Look at his hand over hand. Oh, that's insane.
Yeah, he did everything possible to save that car.
Butt wreck,
and he did it. The tires are probably angry. Justin Osterman is back to 9th, and boy, is it going to be fun to watch him charge back to the front. Colby Pierce loose behind Justin Osterman, back toward the front. Ryan O'Donoghue is now all over the back of Matt Sisler. Greg Evans has found his way past. The Deuce now leads it here at Dover, 64 of 200 complete.
Joseph Klein's actually shown a lot of speed over the past weeks, and I think he's proved himself once again here back at Dover Downs, and so I'm not surprised that he's showing some speed early in the event here. But it was a bit of a shock to see he and Osterman come into contact so early in the race. But again,
well, you remember
magnificent. Oh no, I do remember.
No,
Chicago.
you better remember. There are some favors that are laying around from the 7 to the 53 for Chicago. For the Chicago street course.
I get it. I really do. And I do remember he and Joseph Klein had quite the race at the Chicago street course. But just being so early, it just really surprised me. Because usually if you want to cash those checks, you want to do it the most egregious of times.
You know, I don't cash those very often, but those markers that exist in my brain tend to get redeemed.
Oh, and Robert Smith's on the apron.
Yeah, he's coming to pit lane. Robert Smith, very slow, and remember, he did not stop. He's been out 66 laps, and I think the good
he's already
is
going a lap down. That's what it is. So yeah, he had already went a lap down on those older tires. That's why he's pitting.
Yeah, I think the good is gone off the Goodyears, and he's decided discretion the better part of valor. He's going to come get off those tires. The thing is he's only got 22 laps in order to make up that lap. He's going to go at least 2 down, if not 3, Sam, and that's going to move Donald Green, this man, into the lucky dog spot. So if Donald Green can hold it together for another 21 laps, Katie, he's going to be back on the lead lap. There's Donald running along, classified 19th currently, 1 lap down, but he's in the lucky dog spot, Sam, and that's what matters, right?
Well, no, of course. You always want to be in a position where you can get your lap back. I was thinking about Robert Smith, though. That paint scheme probably matches the condition of his tires.
Yeah, 66 laps here at Dover, and that's about all I'd want. Sam. The best battle on the track continues to be Ryan O'Donoghue and Matt Sisler. Greg Evans has moseyed away. He's got a 1.2 second lead. O'Donoghue is now going to school on the back of that 3 birdies machine, looking at any way that he can get past Matt Sisler and get into second. O'Donoghue, of course, is one of the championship leaders, despite having not won a race, and he wants to do that.
He's just Mr. Consistency. He's fast in practice. He's fast in qualifying. He is consistent in always running up front. Ryan O'Donoghue is definitely Mr.
But he
Consistency.
needs to win that
The
race.
only thing that the only thing off his resume this season is that win.
And it's unfortunate that he hasn't won that race because he doesn't. He does want to punch his ticket to the playoffs, and you're not guaranteed of that unless, of course, you put one in the win column. So O'Donoghue is going to want to get past Sizzler and then see if he can find a way around Greg Evans. Do want to kind of pick up a story right here. That's Sean Merriman. He's 19 seconds off the lead, so that puts him about 3 to 4 seconds away from going a lap down. Donald Green has now gone 2 down. Donald Green is now Sean Merriman's biggest fan because in order for Donald Green to get a lap back, Merriman needs to stay on the lead lap, and he's about 0.7 of a second slower than Greg Evans. Here's Evans, and he's going to be looking. He's going to be looking out the dash, and that's Sean Merriman in front of him. Now, of course, Merriman would be in position for the lucky dog there, Sam, but you get tail into the longest line and all that. He would desperately like to stay on the lead lap for another 15 laps. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it.
Yeah, because there's about 3/4 or a half a racetrack before they get to Barry Seaman. So, I mean, it just depends on how much tire wear Seaman has that he would be caught by the leaders. It would probably put Sean Merriman in the best position for a lucky dog. But if he goes a lap down here, then, some people would just be like Robert Smith. You just feel like, okay, I've got to get into the pits and maybe make up as much ground as I can on fresh tires and get those lap times in hopes that maybe you could pass those cars that are ahead of you, so to speak, that are in the lap down position.
Well, there you go. The only caveat to that is you're 13, now 12, getting to be 12 laps away from a competition caution. Oddly enough, Sean Merriman and Barry Seaman were running just about identical lap times, although Merriman is about 4.5 seconds behind Seaman. And there you see the deuce of Greg Evans. That's a good-looking hot rod, Sam. It looks like you put some more chrome on that car this week.
Do you think it was planned that way?
I don't know, but Sim Magic ought to give him a bonus because that's a beautiful-looking race car. Greg Evans is leading here at Dover, 79 of 200 laps complete. Do want to thank everybody for tuning in to the broadcast. I know it's not as popular of a track, and so we do thank you for keeping with us on a Thursday night. We know you've got a lot of options. If you haven't already done it, make sure you smash the like button on the video, ring the bell to subscribe to the channel so you can be notified of all future P1 broadcasting efforts. Next week, Sam, we go to Indianapolis, and that's going to be a fun one. A lot different Indianapolis than Dover.
Well, they're actually racing the oval instead of the road course, so.
I'm gonna go to that race. I was at the first. They started that race in '94, so I went to the first 15 of them, and then there was some controversy with the way that the Speedway dealt with tickets. There were a lot of people, and ourselves included, that had been upgraded into prime locations that were then turned into general admission, and so there was some distraught about that. And then after, of course, the race with the tires and the cautions every 10 laps, that kind of did that crowd in. They of course moved it to the road course, but this is the first time I've been back since the early teens, the early 20 teens, and had a friend that had some tickets in the Tag Heuer suite. So we're going. We're gonna take AJ and Natalie as well. She has never been to a NASCAR race. She's been to plenty of IndyCar races, never a NASCAR race. So this will be the first time she's seen a stock car race as well.
Well, that's exciting to be able to have that experience for the first time. It's always neat to go to a new venue and be able to get a feel for a new environment, a new racetrack, a new area. It's always fun to do those kind of things. So good for her.
It is,
Jumping in
and
getting
for
that
me,
experience. That's awesome.
it is, and for me, we're watching Brian Wasserman. He has consistently been closing down Ryan or Joseph Klein for that fifth spot. Kendall Paul has moved past Ryan O'Donohue to fourth, so that's kind of along in form of what happened in the last stage. Ryan O'Donohue was quick early and slid back late. Here's this battle. Kendall Paul working the high side, Ryan O'Donohue the bottom. It was kind of funny. We were talking. I was talking to my dad. I personally have been to somewhere around 60 races between Indy 500s, Brickyards, Formula One, MotoGP, etc. But I have actually never been in a suite at the Speedway, and so at Indy. I've never been in a suite, no, and so this will be a first for me, and so I want to thank the.
Wow, how cool!
I want to thank, and I've been everywhere in that place, even in the broadcast booth, but I've never been into. I've never been in a suite, and so I thank the connections that came through, and thank the good people at Tag Heuer, and we're going to have a good time.
You deserve it. After all that patronage and loyalty and consistency about being at that racetrack and sharing so much of your life and its history, that's really cool.
Yeah, we'll stop by.
Colby Pierce is calling the pit stop here.
Yeah, here's Colby. He's headed for the pit lane, and this is odd. It's lap 88 of 200.
Troy, the stage break.
Yeah, Troy Carricker is coming in as well. I think that they may be thinking
that they go a lap down. If they go a lap down, they'll just be
one lap down. Yeah, I think they're thinking they
won't be a lap. If they stay out, they can do the drive around. But
well, here's the thing: you're watching Pierce.
I think they'll lose a lap because Greg has such a big lead.
Well, they've already lost the lap. Here's Greg Evans, Troy Carricker, Colby Pierce already on the pit lane. They have already lost that lap, Sam. And so I don't know. They just went 2 laps down. And so they're going to be at least 1 lap down no matter what. Barry Seaman, Sean Merriman remain 1 lap down. Seaman is in that lucky dog spot. You're watching the leader, Greg Evans, because he is about to come through and grab the win in stage number 2. Matt Sizzler will bring it home second. There's Sizzler. Kendall Paul comes through in fourth. Ryan O'Donohue, Klein, Wasserman, Hodgson, Hutchins, Justin Osterman, Lee Campbell are going to be your top 10. And there is Barney with the caution flag, and we are under the yellow light for the second of 2 stages. Do want to thank our fans here at P1 Broadcasting, and do want to thank everybody for tuning in. If you haven't done so, please make sure you smash the like button on the video, ring the bell to subscribe, and so you'll be notified of all future P1 Broadcasting events. This is the Blackmagic Studios AMA Grand National Series, and we will return right after these messages. Welcome back to the Black Magic Studios AMA Grand National Series. You're watching the end of the Stage 2 caution. It's Greg Evans, Matt Sisler, Kendall Paul, Joseph Klein, and Ryan O'Donohue, your top 5. Then Wasserman, Osterman, Hodgson, Hutchins, and Lee Campbell are going to round out your top 10. Just to kind of put a cap on that strategy call that we were talking about earlier, Sam, Sean Merriman and Barry Seaman remain a lap down. Randy Dunlap is 2 lap down. Colby Pierce lost 3 laps, and Troy Carricker 6 on that.
Yeah, that's a mystery to me. I would have to go back and see exactly what happened with Troy for him to lose that many laps. I didn't see what exactly happened to him. As we're under green again, and Greg Evans gets a big jump in the restart zone, and so he'll jump out to a big lead going into turn 1, and that'll leave Kendall Paul and Matt Sisler fighting it out, try to follow Greg Evans out of turn 2, and Sisler will win that battle.
There you go. Joseph Klein slips past Ryan O'Donohue into 4th. Klein now going to look to the bottom of Kendall. Paul thinks better of it. That's going to get O'Donohue checked up, and Brian Wasserman is coming hard on that outside.
That's a tight group right there. They've been racing. These racers there have been racing each other most of the evening. As Ryan O'Donohue makes the pass on Kendall Paul.
Most certainly.
Wasserman gives a shout out to Kendall Paul to just fall in line. He's not going to battle him here. Wasserman, the quiet storm. Again, he's just nestling in to his space and wants to run his race. I really appreciate race strategy like that.
You know,
we're single file, and now this is really going to tell who has the best tire management for the remainder of the race, and we actually are going to be in a position where we see who will gamble on fuel.
You know, we are. New tires. I was looking at the fall off. Over the course of a 45-lap run, you're going to lose about a second a lap, Sam, at the end of that 45 laps. They would have to do 105 under green as we continue to watch this battle between Wasserman, Paul, and so on. We'll get further up. That's Matt Sisler. He's grabbed the lead from Greg Evans one more time. Evans in the deuce is 2nd. Joseph Klein has moved past Ryan O'Donohue in the 3rd. So move O'Donohue to 4th. Kendall Paul is 5th. Wasserman 6th. I think Brian Wasserman's got his name etched in that P6 spot. But Sam,
he sure does. He is very happy right there, and he's nestling in, and he's just wanting to run his particular race. I've been watching him. I called him out early in the race. I've been watching him closely all night.
Somebody that I've been keeping one eye on is David Dunwoody. He moves past John Hutchins. He moves past Mr. Excitement, Justin Osterman. He pulls up on the back of James Hodgson. He gained 3 spots because he passed Lee Campbell the lap before. He gained 3 spots in about a mile and a half. David Dunwoody is coming to the front, Sam. He's also coming way loose.
There off 4.
That's a guy that is not saving tires. He will be stopping, Sam.
He's using every bit of the racetrack. He's going high. He's going low. He's chopping the nose off the cars. We have one on the apron going toward pit lane. Yeah,
it's Randy Dunlap. He's got damage. Troy Carricker has also pulled it back onto pit lane with damage to his automobile. Same for Keith Graham. Keith Graham has been on the pit lane for 41 minutes, classified 21st. Randy Dunlap, too fast entering the pit lane, and so that's
awful.
That's bad news for Randy Dunlap. But there's 2 schools of thought here, Sam. If you can make it on gas, see if you can make it on gas. Baby the tires, and do everything you can to ensure that you make it. The second school is, and we're going to see that from somebody. My guess is likely Brian Wasserman. The other school of thought is burn them down, pit halfway through the stage, and burn them down again.
Right.
That's what we're watching with the 28 of David Dunwoody. That car is not saving tires.
I did not think to look, but did anyone come in and top off on the second round of that of the last pit stop? Did anybody come in and top off?
They did not. The only car with one fewer laps. There are 2, Barry Seaman and Robert Smith, but they are both laps down.
And Granny Dunlap has actually taken his car behind the pit wall, and he is punked out of the event as well. So that's at least one more spot that someone can move up.
That's going to be, you're thinking about Troy Carricker. Troy has, yeah, he's 15 laps in arrears, but he's brought the 94 back out onto the racetrack. Speaking of bringing things onto the racetrack, Greg Evans has now slipped to third. Joseph Klein has moved into second, and Klein is now going to take a shot at the back of that 3 birdies machine of Matt Sisler leading the field. Ryan O'Donohue content to play the role of observer here, but the front 3 are a lot closer than we've seen them for most of this event.
And we could very well see a different play of strategies here, because Sisler and Klein, maybe just they figured out what their tire wear would be over a 40 or 45 lap run, and so they're pushing the car a little bit harder. They felt like maybe they had more tire left. Greg Evans, on the other hand, knowing him the way I know him, running consistent lap times is what he does. That's just what's in his mind, is that he wants to run consistently the same speed lap after lap after lap, and that's usually his race strategy at tracks like this.
Very true, very true. Do want to point out that we've changed the counter. We've also going to have a change of leader. Joseph Klein goes through. Now Greg Evans is going to try to have a crack at Matt Sisler for second. Evans has the bottom, Sisler on the top. Is Greg Evans going to be able to get this done, and then can Ryan O'Donohue follow him through?
Well, Sisler's not going to give it up easily. He's not going to pull over for Greg Evans here. He's going to make him fight for it.
You know, and how much tire is that using up on that 35? But Greg Evans is going to slide in the second, move Sisler back to third. Ryan O'Donohue continues to run fourth. And now it's a matter of looking at the deuce and saying, is Greg Evans going to be able to make a run at Joseph Klein here and take the lead?
You can cue the Jaws music, but we might get a copyright infringement again. So
I've been advised no more soundboards. Do not sing. The old YouTube algorithm was added again last week. Good thing is we the legal team here at the P1 Broadcasting Network got us freed, but I've been instructed no singing, no dancing. Sam, your ears are safe. We're watching Greg Evans make the deuce sing. He's in second, and he is all over the back of Joseph Klein for the lead here.
I've noticed that in this particular stage, things have not spread out quite so fast.
No, and I think
spread out much quicker in the other 2 stages, but all the way back.
Well, I think you've got
all the way back to John Hutchins and Brian Sharp. I mean, this crowd is staying right. Eric Porter. I mean, they really are staying close.
They are, and I think that's because they're taking it much easier in this third stage, knowing that they're going to have to run these tires for a very long time. Now, do want to kind of point out, it's a 24-second lap here. It takes about 49 seconds to go all the way down pit lane, and Sam. Make your stop, come back on the track. You're probably going to lose another 20 seconds or so down to pit road speed, back up to speed. A green flag pit stop here is going to cost you. It cost Colby Pierce 3 laps.
It really surprised me to see them pitting so soon, because I don't think Colby Pierce was in a position to lose a lap. It really surprised me that they pitted at that particular juncture. But, I mean, again, there was the possibility that things may have played out.
You know, most certainly so, but just kind of point that out. You're going to lose, if you come to pit lane under green, you're going to lose 2 or 3 laps. Are new tires going to be worth 2 or 3 laps? We kind of documented, they're worth about a second. Joseph Klein, your leader, has the second fastest lap of the race. Fastest lap of the race is owned by Mr. Excitement. No, it's owned by Mr. Excitement, Justin Osterman, 23.719. They're running around 24.802 right now, and they've got 23 laps on their tires. So you're already at a second, little over a second and fall off, and that's just going to continue to get worse, Sam. Can new tires make up what would essentially be a 55-second gap in 50 laps? That's the question, right?
It would be astronomical to know that you could lose 2 laps and be able to lap the field twice with fresh tires in that amount of time. It just doesn't, the numbers just don't equate to that. Unless the drop-off speed is so astronomical for the cars that stay out. And I was in a race this other night, and it just played out where the fuel mileage was in play, and cars were crawling on the racetrack to try and finish the race on the lead lap, and fresh tires were king, and it just obliterated those cars who were staying out on fuel strategy.
I'll tell you who's not crawling is Greg Evans. He's moved right back into the lead. Joseph Klein has taken second away from Matt Sisler. Ryan O'Donoghue is now all over the back of the 35. If you're gonna do the stop strategy, you're gonna have to pit. My guess.
You have to do it early. You have to do it incredibly early, and then you have to run so fast to make up time. You use all the good that you have in the tire in the short pit. So it's so risky. It is such a gamble.
It is. We would be anticipating. We're 28 laps out now, coming to get 29 laps out now. Watching the battle, second, third, and fourth. That's Joseph Klein, Matt Sisler, Ryan O'Donoghue. 28.
If I was on that race strategy, if I was on what you are implying here, and what you're presenting to the audience, if I was in that position, I would do it around with 75 laps to go. That would probably give me just enough of a window to feel like I could use as much tire as I needed to use and try to make up as much ground as I could, especially for those cars that are going to stay out and not pit at all, because they're going to be crawling by the end of the race.
See, I was going to say leave it a little bit later, maybe lap, maybe 60 to 55 to go would be my window.
I don't think that's enough. Yeah, I don't know that I'm there. It would just have to be, you would need more laps with fresher tires. You need all the laps that you can get. So with 50, 60 laps, I just don't think it's enough to make up 2 laps and go for the win.
So there you have it, P1 Broadcasting fans. Sam and I do not agree on the appropriate pit window here at Dover, but we're gonna check it out. We're getting into the time where Sam says he would come and get fresh tires. I think that's a little bit early. I think you're leaving yourself exposed to a caution that would ruin your deal. I say anywhere between 55 to 60 to go. Sam says come get them now. So far,
well, see, the other part of my strategy would not be to just run. I would have. Oh, and we see Sean Merriman get into the back of Robert Smith. Robert Smith saves it. He saves the car, but now he's still sliding.
He's in front of Dunwoody.
And Eric Corder almost gets him.
Sam, they got to stop doing that.
I know. I'm trying to have a discussion here.
No, they got to stop doing that. I about had a heart attack. Meanwhile, Brian Sharp has gone around Eric Corder, and he has caught the back of David Dunwoody. So Sharp running along. I don't want to say it. I'm not saying anything. Brian Sharp runs along in 12th. We're going to cut back to this battle between Ryan O'Donoghue and Matt Sisler, because those two Camaros, Sam, they're fighting tooth and nail over this second spot. Sisler's got it. O'Donoghue wants it. Joseph Klein had moved to second. He's now back to fourth. These two, though, they're having at it, Sam.
Well, Ryan O'Donoghue's not going away, that's for sure. Oh, and now he's just rubbing the bumper of Matt Sisler as they go into one.
Yeah, he drops it to the inside. Ryan O'Donoghue to the bottom. Matt Sisler is in the middle lane. O'Donoghue is going to have the spot.
O'Donoghue makes a clean pass there. What a great pass that was.
Yes, it was. So move Ryan
What I was
O'Donnell.
going to say earlier is that if I had that strategy and I knew I was going to run 30 laps hard, I would run those laps hard. I would get to the front as quickly as I could get so that when I did make that pit stop, then I could utilize that track position and not lose more than one lap.
Yeah,
And I would still have 25, I would still have 30 lap pressure tires than the rest of the field.
I think
So
that's
there's more than just pitting on, with 75 to go. I would have pushed myself to go to the front as far as I
Whoa,
could
we got a
go.
car on the wall. We got a car on the wall. That's
He's
the
drifting down in front of the leaders. Oh, and no! Joseph Klein T-bones him in the corner.
what in tarnation has happened with the 55 of Barry Seaman? Multiple cars involved. Seaman was in the fence, Sam, and this is going to be interesting. We're going to speed this up a little bit.
The car goes airborne.
Yeah,
And now, and Lee Campbell just misses a careening Seaman car that goes down across the racetrack. I think that's the end of Joseph Klein's night. Yes, he is done.
well, Barry
Barry
Seaman.
Seaman is done.
Yeah, Barry Seaman tagged the fence on the outside and the inside of the front straightaway. He was very slow going up toward turns number 1 and 2. There you see the deuce, Greg Evans. That's the leader sneak by. Seaman has no control over his automobile. O'Donohue is going to get by. Sizzler is going to get through. Kendall Paul. Joseph Klein trying to slow down, loses control, and slams.
That's an equipment malfunction. That has to be an equipment malfunction.
It does indeed. Justin Osterman involved.
Just the character.
Lee Campbell.
Just the character of that car and the way it went down the front stretch and into turn 1. Well, that took every bit of race strategy that we discussed completely out of the discussion.
Well, and we had just jumped on board of Ryan O'Donohue and I saw that car sitting up there. Here's what Joseph Klein saw. He tries to slow down, and it doesn't slow. It's one of those. We kind of talk about this.
Looks like he locked it up.
Yeah, we kind of talk about this with open wheel cars a little bit. Well, let's show Justin Osterman and what he sees here. But we talk about it with open wheel cars, but it still happens here. People think, oh, you're just turn to avoid the crash. You get really minute movements. If you go slamming on the brakes or jerking the wheel around, you'll do what Joseph Klein and Justin Osterman did. You'll simply lose control of the vehicle. And so you may only get one move, and it can only be a slight one, and you have to commit to that move to avoid an accident. That was on board Justin Osterman. We are under caution with now 68 laps to go. The lights are out on the pace car. Nobody came to pit road with one exception, Sam, and this may be the move of the race. Evans, O'Donohue, Paul, Wasserman, and Osterman, your top 5. Who does that leave out, Sam?
Who pitted? Tell me.
Matt Sizzler came and got himself 4 Mr. Feelgoods with 68 laps to go.
I like it.
And it was a 22-car field to start with. Klein, Seaman, Dunlap, and Fisher are out of the race. Keith Graham is on pit road under permanent repair. So really, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars out of this race. There are only 17 cars on the Speedway, and of those 17, only 13 on the lead lap. Matt Sizzler is going to restart this on the outside of row 6.
Actually, it's 16. It's only 15 cars now because Joseph Klein and Barry Seaman both have punched out. They've taken their cars behind the wall.
Gotcha. My point being, Matt Sizzler is not that far behind.
No, he's not. I mean, it's very viable that he can make his way up here quickly and make a run.
Yeah, he's already
for the lead. If we stay green, it could play out to be very interesting.
He's already 9th. He's gone past Brian Sharp. Now he's looking to the bottom of John Hutchins. He's got Lee Campbell. And remember, those 2 cars were just involved in that last accident as was Justin Osterman. In front of him, Sizzler
It'll be quick
already
between those two
7th.
drivers.
Yeah, Matt Sizzler already 7th. Hutchins, it's almost like Hutchins and Campbell let him go and then immediately said, hey, we'll just resume our battle as were.
Let's find it out while we're still at it. Exactly.
Yeah, we'll let him go and continue on. Looking out the front of Matt Sizzler, the next up on the hit parade is James Hodgson. Hodgson last time through 24.669, Sizzler 24.611. Greg Evans, your leader, 24.322. So Matt Sizzler is not the fastest car on the racetrack. And I got to think maybe, Sam, he might be saving some of what he just got.
Why wouldn't he save if he has that much fresher tires? Why would he get out there and burn them down at the very start of the run? Why not just go ahead and run some consistent lap times, make your way up steadily on cars that have the older tires, and then be able to push the car at the end of the run? No, I think that's the right call.
Well, and the other part of this is everybody else has got a heat cycle on their tires. They've cooled off, of course, and so it's going to feel okay for them for 5 or 10 laps. It's not like they're immediately going to be a lot slower, and he's going to have to be
push coming off the corners.
Yeah, well, and Sizzler, he knows he's got a huge advantage here. He knows he's got a huge advantage. What he wants is for this race to play out in a long green flag run here. Matt Sizzler does not want to see another caution, and if that's the case, he may drive this thing straight to victory lane. He's got a huge advantage on tires. He's running 7th. Sean Merriman.
He's got Sean Merriman, who was our lucky dog recipient for this last.
Now Merriman also took tires.
Does not have a strategy of saving tires. He's going to the front.
Well, and I didn't notice that Merriman, because he had been a lap down, I did not notice that Merriman also took tires. If Matt Sizzler is saving them, Sean Merriman is saving absolutely nothing. He is taking that 18 straight to the front.
If these are two poker players, Sizzler is only on the ante and Sean Merriman is all in.
He most certainly is. There goes by Mr. Excitement, Justin Osterman. He's going to get to the bottom of Kendall Paul. Kendall is going to move up the racetrack, so Merriman is going to get in.
Osterman gets loose there coming off the corner.
We're watching Sean Merriman. Here's what it looks like from the cockpit. This is the speed differential that you'll see riding as the passenger of Sean Merriman here. Brian Wasserman, who's now 3rd, he laid claim to 6th. He was permanently 6th. Now he's 3rd. PDX Darby chimes in.
It's 4th. He's behind Wasserman, who's in 3rd.
Well, right. Wasserman was 6th forever. Now he's 3rd.
He'll make this pass right now, yeah.
Yeah. Chargers legend Sean Merriman, PDX Darby says. Great football player, Sean Merriman. He is 3rd, and he's going to make very quick work of Ryan O'Donoghue. And it's not going to be long before he gets to Greg Evans. And I don't know that O'Donoghue and Evans are going to put up too much of a fight. If you're Evans and you're looking in your relative right here, and you see and I'm sure he's got the overlays to know that Merriman's on fresh tires. How much of a fight do you put up?
Well, if you know that he's got fresher tires, and Mike Rigney brings up a great point in our chat, being one of our viewers tonight, is that sometimes these tires will equal out, and if Sean, depending on how much he's using up in speed to get up to the front, I mean, those tires could equal out and just be just as fast, or equal out to whatever it is that Greg Evans may be saving, or Ryan O'Donoghue might be saving, but that many laps, Sean Merriman should be able to catch Greg Evans pretty easily and make a pass.
Well, he's already made the pass.
He has already done that, yeah.
Yeah, he's made the pass. So Sean Merriman going back to the lead. Can
you imagine what's going on in Sean Merriman's head right now? I was the lucky dog recipient at the last caution, and I have fresh Goodyear Eagles going to the front, and I have just passed the winningest driver this season, and I am leaving him. Yeah. That's got to be a great feeling.
Sean Merriman, 6'10". Yeah, I was going to say, whether it works out or not, He's 6/10 of a second quicker.
Look what I did.
Yes, 6/7 of a second a lap quicker than Greg Evans right now. He is laying the wood to the number 18, and is checked out.
When does Sisler hit the button?
Well, we're watching him now. So Matt Sisler has not taken the sabers drawn approach into traffic.
Well, we still have 52 laps in this race.
Yeah, 53. Sisler has moved cautiously. Justin Osterman kind of slaps the wall coming off of turn number 2 there in the background. He's got the lap car of Robert Smith to his right. Robert Smith is on new tires. He did stop. Now Smith is 4 laps down. He put on new tires. He's going to try to get his laps back. But Sisler has not taken that sabers drawn approach.
Yeah,
no.
I mean he's 5 seconds off the lead.
He's playing this is the difference between a long game and a short game, right? Sean Merriman,
Colby Pierce makes a call for a pit stop.
Yeah, I think. Well, and Colby may have damage. He was on pit road and took tires at that last caution. Sean Merriman, I think at this rate, if you're going as hard as he is, 24.501 that time, 25 dead for Sisler, so he's a half a second faster than his peer. If you're Sean Merriman, you're burning him down and you're hoping that you get out to a big lead and there's a caution.
Yeah, they won't be able to catch you.
Either they can't catch you or there's a caution. Matt Sisler,
Exactly.
Matt Sisler knows he's holding 4 aces at this point. He just has to be careful not to rub the lettering off of those cards before they hit the table.
I'm just I hate that. It sounds like a broken record. It's just what lap is the button? What lap does he throw the cigarette out the window and put both hands on the wheel? You see what I'm saying?
I do. I do. I don't think
anticipation is really cool. I like it.
I don't know, and we're going to continue to watch him because it's by far the most compelling thing on the circuit. Sean Merriman has jetted away from Greg Evans, although those lap times are getting much more similar than they once were. Merriman was 0.6 of a second quicker than Evans 7 or 8 laps ago. It's now just 0.2 quicker. So the good may be going off of the Goodyear for Sean Merriman.
Every bit of that, yeah, he could have very well used all that tire up. And Colby Pierce is entering pit lane.
Yes, he is. That's another stop for Colby Pierce. He had just been on pit lane, and so there may be damage to that 42
all right,
machine.
Here we go. Matt Sisler on the inside of Kendall Paul.
Yes, he is.
Kendall Paul just makes an announcement for a pit stop.
Yep. So these guys.
Now these drivers are going to see if they lose a lap. If they do lose a lap under green, they're thinking that they may have enough tire, and that may be Matt Sisler's idea. Save, so that they cannot take advantage of the fresh tires if they push too hard in that last 50 or 45 laps.
Yeah, we're gonna cover the stop for Kendall Paul here because he's the first one of the leaders to blink with 46 laps to go. What did I call it, Sam? 45 laps to go is Kendall Paul. Here he is. I bet we're going to see 4 tires. I bet we're going to see a tank full of fuel, and we're going to see him come back out on the racetrack. John Hutchins, too fast, entering pit lane.
Oh, no.
Right side's done, left's done. Kendall Paul is out. And let's see where Kendall Paul comes back out onto the racing surface. Here he is. He's on the apron. He's lost 2. He has lost 2 full laps.
Two full laps.
He's lost 2 full laps. So Matt Sisler is in the background there. So he is basically 2 laps minus a straightaway, half a straightaway really, because there's Sisler, and you can see Kendall Paul up in the distance out of the windshield. So Kendall Paul is just a little bit less than 2 laps.
Robert Smith here, and Justin Osterman is right there in his wake.
Yeah, and that's not good for Kendall Paul either. You do that, you want to come out in clean air for sure. And now the danger for Matt Sisler is he feels like he's got the winning strategy, but it almost becomes a class race. This is almost like watching an IMSA race at points, isn't it, Sam?
We might have oh my heavens, James Hodges just misses Wasserman.
And
that was intense. I just knew they were going to collide.
Well, and Sisler just about clouded the back of Robert Smith. That checks up his momentum, and here comes Eric Quarter through. There are only 5 cars that have not stopped. Sean Merriman, Greg Evans, Ryan O'Donohue, David Dunwoody are the only vehicles that have not stopped. Not only that, there are 0 automobiles one lap down.
That's just for a handful off of turn 2 right there. That car was wicked loose that time.
Do want to check in with the leader, Sean Merriman. 24.922. He has consistently still been a couple of tenths quicker than Greg Evans. He's out to about a 3.2 second lead over Evans. And there's Greg in the deuce. He runs second. He is second according to the TV panel on the car. Ryan O'Donohue is third. There's Ryan. Matt Sisler is fourth. And David Dunwoody is
fifth. Let me see. His last lap. This time by his lap speed is 25.362.
Sizzler
He's still considerably, his speed is just considerably slower than what Merriman's is, and that's really surprising to me. But I mean, we still have 40, almost 40 laps left
30,
in this event,
39,
so it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
Maybe Matt Sisler knows something that Sean Merriman doesn't. Sean Merriman has obviously put that Mustang on kill, and he's going to go as hard as possible. But I think the crossover has finally happened where he's used too much. For the first time, he is now slower than Greg Evans by a tenth. He's now slower.
Use so much of the tire up when you push that hard, it just kind of equalizes out. And when again, I said earlier in the broadcast, Greg's biggest forte here is that he consistently wants to run the same lap times, lap in, lap out, and want to keep the same line so that he can get the most out of those tires over the long run.
Yeah, I mean, he most certainly does. And there's Greg Evans. He's now gobbling time in chunks, 0.3 of a second that lap. Sisler gained a couple of tenths. So Greg Evans has the tires have crossed over. Sean Merriman, we kind of observed, Sam, he might have been abusing him just a little bit too hard.
Oh, no question. As hard as he pushed up through the field, it's a good possibility that is the case. But now Kendall Paul is, let's see, where is he in relation to Merriman? Merriman is just now coming off of turn 2. Kendall Paul is the first car 2 laps down, and Kendall Paul still has to get around Merriman and then back around Merriman again.
Well, he's got to get around Greg Evans too, and Greg Evans certainly
there goes Wasserman. Wasserman gets around Kendall Paul.
Yeah, and so now Wasserman, the first car, 2 laps down. No cars 1 lap down. Dunwoody has pulled it into the pit lane for service, and so there's Wasserman and Kendall Paul. And look, they're pulling up just to the back of the deuce now. So they're going to have to pass these boys twice, and then pass them again for position.
Correct.
No fight. No fight from Greg Evans.
I just felt like it was just so hard to make up that kind of ground under these circumstances. What we may be watching and witnessing here with Greg Evans is that Greg Evans probably does not plan on pitting again.
No.
And if that's the case, I mean, you're watching just a master class of tire saving. That he's only 3.5 seconds off of Merriman, and he is still 8 seconds ahead of Matt Sisler, who has 30 lap pressure tires.
Yeah, I was going to say Merriman's got, they've got Merriman and Sisler 40 lap fresher tires than Evans and O'Donohue. Now Matt Sisler has caught the back of Ryan O'Donohue. You asked when the cigarette was going to go out the window and both hands were going to go on the wheel. I wanted to say that I don't think it's going to be.
Look at the ground he makes up there on O'Donohue. He's going to make the pass here in the corner.
Yeah, and O'Donohue's not going to fight it at all. He's just going to drive it up the racetrack, put his hand out the window and say, go on.
Ryan O'Donohue is a class act. He really is a class act. I've enjoyed getting to know Ryan a little bit better over the past weeks, and I just think he's a really class guy. I do, and he's a great racer.
Yes, he is. I think Evans, O'Donohue, I don't believe they're stopping. Clearly, Sizzler and Merriman are not stopping either. They've already made their stop. They made their plan when that caution came out. The problem for Merriman is he's now half a second slower than Sizzler, 0.7 slower than Greg Evans. Evans now gobbling up time in chunks to Sean Merriman, and Merriman is that black and silver machine, 2 cars in front of Greg Evans. That's James Hodgson in between them. It is not going to be long at this rate, Sam.
No, it will not. And that was the risk that Sean Merriman took, and he understood that what he was doing. Sean Merriman's not a rookie to racing.
No.
He understood the risk that he was going to take. He accomplished exactly what he set out to do, was to get to the lead and try to pull away. And so Greg has accomplished his race strategy as well. Now we have to wait and see if Matt Stifler, who has been so patient, way more patient than you and I have been here in the booth, if his race strategy is going to play out, and he's going to be able to have saved enough tire to be able to catch Greg Evans.
Well, and here's the thing. What Sean Merriman did is not wrong.
Absolutely
he gambled. Not. He gambled on a strategy. If the yellow came out right now, Sean Merriman looks like a genius. Yeah. Because he comes
in, he gets 4 fresh tires, he comes probably back out into the lead again on a restart.
And the worst he can finish is
exactly
5th.
What he should have done.
Yeah, and the worst he's going to finish is 5th. He looks like a genius.
Yeah.
I mean, it's but you can be the genius. You watch Lee Campbell get underneath on his fresh tires of Greg Evans. Evans again, hand out the window. No fight. 26 laps to go here at Dover in the AMA Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series. Do want to thank all of the viewers here at P1 as we watch Greg Evans in his pursuit of Sean Merriman. Ryan O'Donoghue has a meatball. O'Donoghue with a meatball.
What in the world? Oh, it could be tire wear. It could be tire wear. He could have wore the tires out on that car.
Yeah, I don't see that he's hit anything. But
no,
Ryan,
no. I guarantee it's probably tire wear.
Yeah, and so that's something that you don't see very often in the sim, and we'll explain what that is. In iRacing, there is no blowout. There is no go boom, hit the fence. What happens is when the tire tread reaches 0, as you know, Sam, when tire wear hits 0, or the tread hits 0, it becomes very difficult to steer the car, right? So there's not a blowout per se, but you have no grip on that particular corner. And the other thing that happens is you get a meatball flag, and that is iRacing saying you must pit. That's a black flag with an orange disc.
It's an equipment caution.
Yeah, you must pit within 3 laps for equipment issue. And so that's what's happened to Ryan O'Donoghue. We believe his time in the pit lane would suggest...
honestly, that's the only thing it could possibly be.
Yeah, 14.5 in the box. That was right front gone.
Oh, and Greg Evans is pitted.
Yeah, Greg Evans is coming in too. And I think he may be in the same boat. I didn't see a meatball flag for him, but it would not surprise me if he was in the same boat. And now it's between this man, Matt Stifler, and Sean Merriman. Merriman, though, with his early charge, he staked himself to and Greg Evans speeding on
tell
exit.
me this. Tell me, okay, you've got the stats in front of you. So you tell me this. Sean Merriman and Matt Stifler pitted and got those tires around what, lap 140 or 130?
They'll be 48 laps old this time by.
So another 25 laps will put them at 73 laps.
Yeah, there we'll put it up on the board. Merriman pitted 1 lap later.
At a time, you're looking at a window when Ryan O'Donoghue got a meatball flag.
Yeah, and that's
so you could very well see Sean Merriman or Matt Stifler, depending on how well they could or could not save tires, they too could get a meatball flag at the end of this race.
And that's the situation. So Merriman and Stifler are the only 2 on the lead lap. Brian Wasserman, Kendall Paul, Justin Osterman, James Hodgson, Greg Evans, Lee Campbell, they are 1 lap down. Greg Evans has a black flag for speeding on the pit lane. And so he's going to have to bring the deuce down down to serve at least a drive-through, if not a hold. But Evans, unfortunately, is within a lap or two
I
of
think that sets us up that we could, of our top 5 drivers, we could actually have a first-time winner.
Yes, and that's the thing. Only Kendall Paul. Well, Justin Osterman won at Daytona. So
right, that's what I'm saying. Of our top 5, of those top 5, we could have.
That's correct. We're watching Greg Evans. He's going to serve. He's going to come to the pit lane and serve his speeding ticket. The winningest driver in the AMA this season, not going to repeat this evening. Matt Sisler is second. He and this man right here, Sean Merriman, they're the only 2 cars on the lead lap. And the lap since last pit, they tell the story. They stopped under the last caution. They have not stopped since. Greg Evans
and Matt Sisler is losing time to Sean Merriman.
I think that's deliberate. He knows.
He could very well be saving tire. You're exactly right.
Yeah, he knows. He knows that the meatball came out for Ryan O'Donoghue, and he knows that Greg Evans pitted without needing to stop for gas. These drivers these drivers are intelligent. They know. A lot of them watch the broadcast, as we know.
And the ill handling of the race car itself, when that right front really, it just gets almost impossible to steer when the right front starts deteriorating like that.
Yeah, let's jump on board. Let's jump on board Sean Merriman here. We'll get the telemetry up, and let's see if we can't detect differences in how they're driving these cars, Sam.
Because you're looking at Matt Sisler's last lap time was almost 26 seconds. So now these drivers that pitted with 50 laps to go or 45 laps to go, they can really start making up some big time.
They can. You're absolutely right.
But you make up 2 laps.
Well,
full laps.
Well, here's the thing. You can hear Sean Merriman. He's way out of the gas on corner exit. That car, his right front has got to be toast. Listen to him. He's way out of the gas on exit there, Sam.
Yeah.
And then, by contrast, Matt Sisler breaks.
And Matt is continuing to lose huge chunks of time.
Yeah, I'm still saying that that's on purpose.
Right. No, I'm not questioning it. I'm just saying that that's what we're witnessing.
A little bit different. Matt Sisler is going a lot slower in the center of the corner. Sean Merriman is lifting on exit to save his right front. And that's the critical corner, Sam, is the right front here, correct?
Yes, sir, it is. It's instrumental because the way that the car reacts coming off of turns 2 and 4, you really have to have...
Sizzler meatball. Matt Sisler has the meatball.
Oh, Matt Sisler has the meatball flag. Matt Sisler now, he just announced that he has the meatball flag, and he's going to have to serve that penalty.
Yeah, Matt Sisler is going to have to bring it...
With 10 laps to go.
Within sight.
Now, can Sean Merriman somehow masterfully just hold on for 10 more laps?
Well, and here's the difference. Matt Sisler was dragging the brakes, slowing the car down a ton in the center of the corner.
Brakes are your enemy here.
Well, but get back on board with Sean Merriman and Sam. Watch what he's doing.
He's coasting. Is he clutching?
He's not coasting. He's tapping the brakes. He's not going nearly as slowly through the center of the corner, but he's all the way out of the gas when he gets off on exit. There's a big lift from Merriman on exit. Just watch. Of course, he makes a liar out of me and doesn't do it that time. But watch
now the adrenaline's going. He realizes he's the only car on the lap by himself. Now he's really got the adrenaline going, and he's just, he could very well do something.
Well, there he did it that time through. So it's very unorthodox. You don't see drivers do that very often, but he's deliberately lifting off the gas at corner exit, and you can see it. visibly
Greg
in the.
Evans with that. Greg Evans with his penalty. He's 4 laps down, back mired up in the 13th position now. Matt Stisler with his meatball flag and taking this late stop. Now he is 2 laps down.
All eyes, though, are on this man, Sean Merriman.
And look who is in second place tonight.
Yeah, Brian Wasserman. Now he's a lap down, but don't count any of those guys out that stopped.
No, because in the next few laps, if Sean Merriman gets a meatball flag, that second position is going to be for the win.
Yeah, and you can't take your eyes off of Sean Merriman.
No, it's so intriguing to see what's going to happen.
It most certainly is. Here's Merriman. He's down the back. He's down the front stretch one more time. 5 laps to go, and I'm alternately watching Sean Merriman on my screen with my right eyeball, and I'm looking left at the timing and scoring to see if the meatball appears next to his name.
Now, I don't know for sure exactly how this may play out with iRacing, but in the event, if he gets down to the 2 laps to go, or even the white flag lap, and he gets the meatball flag on those 2 laps, and he does not serve the penalty, he does not serve that flag by the end of the race, does iRacing penalize him?
No, so it's just like a black flag. So if you get a black flag with less than 3 to go, you don't have to serve it, right?
Okay, that was my question. I didn't know if they would still penalize him in the event if he got that.
No, now here's the thing: if he got it right here, and he still doesn't have, he still does not have. But if he got it right here, Sean Merriman would have to do 2 laps with essentially a right front that does not turn. Right, so
then he's at risk of going so slow that the next cars could pass him. But again, he is still on a lap all by himself.
Yeah, and Wasserman is not catching him in chunks. Brian Wasserman was just 0.2 of a second quicker that lap. It's not going to matter. Sean Merriman is going to bring the 18 across the start-finish line. He's going to grab the white flag. Barney has it. Sean Merriman is gonna go the distance here.
Or did I call it? I said the names. I said Sean Merriman and Brian Wasserman were drivers to watch out for tonight, and sure enough, what a race!
You did indeed. Sean Merriman's going to bring it through turns number 3 and 4. He's going to come off of 4.
There he goes, Sean Merriman. All the things that have happened comes home with the win.
By a lap. And when's the last time we saw any race of any sort won by a lap? Sam, to me that's even more incredible that he wins the race by a full lap.
That's amazing. I think Sisler is actually now he's talking in the hold on one second.
Go ahead, Sam.
No, I was trying to listen to what was being said. Matt Sisler is saying now that he had a tire strategy, and that may have been why he was going so slow and not really going up through the field like we thought, was because he actually may not have taken a full set of tires there on that pit stop. He thought that he could make it on tire wear.
Indeed, and that's something and
that makes sense. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and that's something that I definitely want to ask Sean Merriman, because that was a very unique. That was very unique in the way that he was lifting coming off the corners. Yeah, Sean Merriman will be your winner, by the way, by a lap. Brian Wasserman, Kendale Paul, they're going to round out your top 5, or your podium rather. Justin Osterman, Ryan O'Donohue, they'll bring it home 4th and 5th. James Hodgson in 6th, Lee Campbell 7th, David Dunwoody ran the cushion 8th. Matt Sisler, oh so close to the strategy. He is 9th, and Eric Corder is 10th. In 11th, Brian Sharp, he avoids calamity. John Hutchins is 12th. Greg Evans, 13th after the late race penalty. Colby Pierce is 14th. Robert Smith, 15th. Troy Carricker is the last car running. Shelby, he stuck it out. 16th position, 17 laps in arrears. Donald Green, Joseph Klein, Barry Seaman, Randy Dunlap, Keith Graham, and Vance Fisher, all classified as out of the event. Whew.
Oh, that was. I love race strategy races. They're so much fun. That was exciting.
Oh,
I know some people are not big fans. They want to see everybody on equal tires, running it out, and but I enjoy as we see Sean Merriman pulling. Now that they've rescanned the track, you can actually pull into victory lane here at Dover. And so he pulled his car onto victory lane. That's really cool to watch him do that. So great job to him.
Yeah, we're gonna get well. Let's see if we can't get Sean Merriman's car in victory lane.
You'll have to be quick because he punched out pretty quick after he got it there.
Either way, we've got Kendale Paul in the winner's circle. Kendale, you've got Murph, you've got Sam in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
I got you guys. What's going on?
Well, there were 3 different strategy choices. You selected what I would have done, which is stopped halfway through the stage. You wind up third with that. What did you need, you think, to be able to catch Merriman and Sizzler and those guys that didn't stop? Is it a matter of stopping sooner? Is it something that is it a matter of stopping sooner? Is it something that you didn't think that those guys would be able to make the distance? Kind of walk us through that.
Yeah, I was stuck in the middle what I was going to do, and I just went with the group majority on that caution. With 70 to go, and we kind of made a group consensus there last minute that we thought the tires weren't going to last on those machines if they took tires, and it was going to be right on the edge on fuel, and I think they were probably 10 laps to the good at the end of the day. But to catch Merriman, it was probably be on the same strategy as him. Props to him for doing that. That was big. Definitely has that. Everybody in the field has that wrote down in the notebook now for next year. So it might not work next year for him, but he definitely rolled the dice there and came out smelling like a rose, a very nice rose. But I'm just happy to finish third. Really, just been keeping that ball rolling of getting good finishes, and we did that at Sonoma last week, and we continued here at Dover. And for the first race here at Dover for me and the Xfinity Series, I missed that last year. Really proud of the speed that we had, and just need a little bit more long run speed, I feel like, and maybe just a tad more on the short run would have been nice. But Greg was on rails all night. I don't know if that played into Greg's favor, if we would have been able to catch Greg just on speed wise, but I felt like we had a very good long run car.
Well, this is certainly not Las Vegas, but the gambling sure paid off for Sean Merriman, no doubt. Kendale, you had a great run going tonight, and it was great to watching you race. But did you utilize the kind of first 2 stages as a measuring stick to see how you were going to be able to play out this last segment? And of course, you never know how the cautions are going to fall either. But I was a little curious as what your strategy was during the race.
Oh yeah, for sure. Stage one is a whole testing ground for me, really. And that's what I praise to the whole team, is make stage one your testing deal and see if you overdo the tires or not. And I think I overdid my tires just a little bit, and I did a little bit worse in stage 2. So I changed it up a little bit for the final stage, and I don't know if we did any better that time or not. I haven't looked at the tires yet. But yeah, definitely it's a testing bed and that sort of thing. And but yeah, I think overall a really good night.
Well, congratulations, Kendall. It was another great showing by the 78 machine.
Yes,
Thank you, Sam.
Yes, it was. And because you laid claim to the bottom step of the podium, brother, you get the mic. Friends, family, sponsor, shout-outs. The floor is yours, Kendall.
Yeah, I got to first and foremost thank Archway Industrial Coatings, league-wise and team-wise. They do a wonderful things for this league, and make everything possible here. If it weren't for them, we wouldn't have what we have now. Gotta thank Black Magic Studios, Admin Box, Track Racer, Rogue Energy, all those guys are also help in some way, some shape, or form to keep the league going and that sort of thing. Gotta thank all the guys back at the team at Dark Horse Performance for their efforts and everything. And I think we just keep making ourselves even stronger, even better as we go on. And hoping to see some of these other guys on the team show up towards up the front. We'd really love to see that. And I got to thank all you guys here at P1 for broadcasting, and thanks to all the staff over here at AMA. I don't thank them enough for their efforts and contributions to the league. So I got to thank them, and got to thank all the friends and family watching, and that's all that I have.
Good deal. Well,
Great job, Kendall.
Absolutely. Good deal. Thank you so much, Kendall. Get out of here. Go celebrate your podium, my friend. You've earned it.
Yep. See you guys next week.
Uh-huh. That is Kendall Paul. He is the third place finisher tonight. For second place, we're going to go to the Mexican Pale Ale Dos Equis machine of Brian Wasserman. Do you have a cold one in hand right now, Brian? Because if you do, you've earned it.
No, I don't. Actually, I was just chatting with Sean and congratulating him on his win and lapping the whole field. And yeah, no, so I haven't even gotten out of my my sim chair yet. But a cold one sounds like a good idea, man. That was a fun race. Fun race, very competitive, very very clean. It was a lot of fun.
Yes, it was. Do want to kind of pose the same question to you as you did Kendall. Watching you guys pit basically halfway through the stage, watching Merriman and Sizzler and Evans try to make the distance. I'm going to ask you, did you think it was possible to do the distance, or were you always going to short pit there?
You know, I didn't even give it any thought. And honestly, as I was telling Sean, I didn't even know who was leading the race until the race was over with. I had no idea where he was at on the track. You know, I run in VR, and I had the black box in relative, and everything around me in relative was a lap down or somebody racing from position. So that last run, after I got the last set of tires, I had no idea who was leading it. I no clue. So I didn't even find out till the end. So yeah, I had thought about trying to stretch it, but I just didn't think I would be able to pull it off because of the tire wear. But obviously I was wrong because Sean pulled it off, man. That was pretty cool.
Well, Brian, congratulations on a fantastic finish. You were one of the drivers that in my pre-race that I called out for a good night.
Well, thank you.
I've actually kind of labeled you the quiet storm. You kind of work your way up through the field. You're quiet. You run your position, and it just seemed like you were zoned to run your race tonight, not anyone else's. And what you're telling us here in the interview kind of alludes to that, is that you were so focused on what you needed to do and how you needed to do it that you didn't even know who was leading at that particular juncture. So, was that your plan all along? Is just to make sure that you minded your P's and Q's and just fell into a spot and a rhythm? Was that really what your approach was?
Yeah, it really was. And I was trying to not tear the tires off in the first 15 laps, and really race the track, because this track has had a history of biting me in the past. So I was just trying to be conservative for the first third of the run, and then start stepping up from there. But yeah, I just kind of, like you say, just kind of stuck to myself, ran my own race, and didn't really pay a heck of a lot of attention to everything going on around me. In fact, I already knew exactly where I'd pit on that after that second stage, regardless of what the field was going to do. But then we got that yellow. So, but yeah, it was. God, it was a lot of fun. It was a really good competitive race.
It sure
we got
was.
a lot of really good race car drivers in this league. It's a lot of fun.
Well, you did a fantastic job. I am thrilled to see you on the podium, and so congratulations for your achievement tonight.
Well, I appreciate it. Appreciate it very much.
Absolutely, Brian, and we appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for joining us in the booth, as is the tradition here at the P1 Broadcasting Network. You get the podium, you get on the podium, you get the mic. Friends, family, sponsor, shout-outs. The floor is yours, my man.
Well, how about a shout-out to our broadcasters there at P1, man. We appreciate you. And everybody at AMA, man, I tell you what, we got such a good group of guys. It's a lot of fun to race. So anybody here at home, let's see, how about my pup, Arthur. Lord Arthur, boy, I can hear him chewing on the bone over here on the couch right now. So I'm gonna have to take him out for a walk here in a minute.
Very good, Brian. Well, thank you so much for stopping by. Keep going fast, having fun, my friend, and we'll see you. Hopefully, we'll see you back up here soon.
Will do, man. You guys have a good night. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank
That is Brian Wasserman, and for the man of the hour, we're going to go ahead and bring in Sean Merriman. Sean, I have to
The
ask.
genius, the professor.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I got to ask. We saw you. We jumped on board with you a few times, and saw you doing. We saw two different and very unique strategies for saving the right front. Matt Sizzler slowed way down in the center of the corner and waited to gas until late. You were actually rolling the center of the corner quicker than quicker than most, and then you were lifting off the gas at exit audibly. Tell us kind of how you figured that out, because two of the best guys that I know and that I've raced against meatballed right, or three of them meatballed right fronts, and you didn't. So tell us your secret, my man.
I don't know what I'm doing. I was lifting not to bounce off the wall. I figured, I mean, the plan from the beginning was we had 3 sets of tires. I knew if you take one at the end of stage 1, take one at the end of stage 2, you got 110 laps to go with 1 set of tires. We get some cautions. So I figured, let me see if I can make it to end of stage 2 and save all 3 sets. And so I'd have a set if we got late caution when nobody else did. Didn't look like it was going to work out. Got lapped there, and somebody else got lapped, so I didn't get the lucky dog. But then that caution, whatever the one caution was we had in third stage, just perfect timing for me. It's in the fuel window, put my set of tires on, and then the fact it went green from there, it fell in my lap. I mean, I think 1 out of 1,000 times I do a random wild strategy like that, it actually pays off. And fortunately tonight was that one time, so probably be a while before that happens again.
Well, you bask in it, Sean, because tonight was your night, man. It was a fantastic run. I was eager to see you have a good finish in the pre-race. I had actually mentioned that I'd like to see you have a good finish. You and Brian Wasserman were at the top of my call-outs tonight, and so it for me, I'm extremely excited for you, and I hope that you relish in this victory for as long as you can. But I do have a personal question for you tonight. Is that I don't know that there's another driver that's been in our series so far this season that has been snake bit so many times. Do you feel like that this is just a big pick-me-up for your season, having this win? Do you feel like that this is the turning point for the 18?
100%. I appreciate you recognizing that, because that is how I felt and how I talked to Brian before waiting for you guys to bring us in. I feel like this league has almost owed me one. Some of the bad luck I've had, just trying to ride out a stage, just mind my own business, and somebody in front of me bounce off the wall and end up in my lap and kill my race, and just the random bad luck I've had all year.
Well, brother, I've watched. I've seen it. I have seen it. So
I appreciate you seeing that, because I didn't know. I didn't know if that was silent under the radar, if I just looked like a terrible driver finishing 15th to 20th every week or what. But
No,
yeah,
not a.
it's been a rough season up
no,
until like,
Mark and I have seen great promise in your race skill and your race craft, man. It's just I have noticed this season it just seems like you and another couple of other drivers have just really just been on the short end of a lot of situations, and so I just wanted to kind of get your mindset that a win like this can really turn a driver's season around. It can change their mindset. It can change their drive. It can invigorate something in them. And so I was just wanting to really pick your brain about that and just see how you felt about it.
yeah, there have been times this year I've felt like just packing it up and looking for something else to do on Thursday nights, but I enjoy long races like this. It kind of suits my style better anyway. I'm typically underdrive the car pretty much anywhere, and a place like Dover that actually I think pays off. So I like longer races, kind of for things to fall in my lap like this. It's just normally it's been other cars falling in my lap. But I've had a good time here. I mean, there's been struggles, but I'm sticking out till the end, and hopefully this is the beginning of a lot better luck and some more top 5s, top 10s.
There you go, brother. We're hoping the same for you, Sean. You deserve it.
Appreciate it.
We hope so as well. It's always great to have a first time podium. And we had that. We had that with Brian, but it's awesome to have a first time winner too. Sean, we have a thing here at P1. If you get on the podium, you get the mic. Friends, family, sponsors, shout outs. The floor is yours, my friend, to talk about whoever you want or thank whomever you like.
I gotta thank my wife for allowing me to.
Now that's the most important.
Like it is. 8:30 is perfect time for me to jump on. That's about time to get kid to bed, stuff like that. So 8:30 is perfect start time for me. But I gotta thank her. Son Keegan doesn't know he's got his logo on my car, the KM on quarter panel. Dylan Godinez and Dylan Godinez Motorsports. I don't know where he was at tonight, but he's helped me a lot. Other places, it just hasn't shown because I end up wrecked out or something. But he's helped me out a lot this season. Parents, siblings, niece, nephew, nieces. I don't have a nephew. Nieces. Send them the link tonight and give them something to watch tomorrow and get some congratulatory text tomorrow and feel good about myself for a little bit.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, man, go celebrate it. That was a master class in saving tires. You did something that nobody else could do tonight. So bask in it, enjoy it, and we will see you next week, my man.
Yes, sir. I'll be here. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. That is Sean Merriman. He is the winner this evening here in the Diamond State 200. And Sam,
I love it.
I
love it, Mark. I love it.
I do too. And I'm going to say this. You know, I know it's not this race above anything else proves one thing. You do not have to have drivers bouncing off of one another, slamming into one another, and driving in a reckless manner to have a great race. What Sean Merriman did tonight was something that I don't know that I've ever seen a pro level sim driver accomplish, and I know I've never seen it in real life. 67 laps on tires at Dover, and his last lap was quicker than Kendall Paul's. Right? So he was not losing time doing what he was doing. He found the secret. He was able to make the right front last. And Sam, I'm here for it. I think that was just as exciting as any nose-to-nose finish that you're going to see.
I'm completely on board with your analogy in that regard. And I mean, I know we've watched Greg Evans win a lot of races in the AMA, but we've also watched, as I was telling Sean, there are drivers in this league who have great racecraft and skill and ability, and they can win these races. Just sometimes they just need breaks to fall their way, and it's just so invigorating and refreshing to see that it happened, especially here at like a racetrack like Dover. We didn't have a lot of cautions, but there was plenty of excitement, a lot of racing, strategy, fast drivers who made mistakes along the way as well. This race, as you were sharing, this race really did have it all.
You know, it most certainly did. And if you want more excitement, Sam, ring the bell, subscribe to the P1 Broadcasting channel, because we've got it next week, or we have tomorrow off. Saturday is the IndyCar iRacing Series presented by 4D Racewear. Top split round from Laguna Seca. That's going to be at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard. On Sunday night, Gary Gonzo and our good friend Andrew Wood, the driver of the station wagon, they're going to have the Dark Horse DW12 Series presented by the Joy of Driving and Auto Club. Sam, I'm going to go to the Brickyard 400. I'm going to get in the car. I'm going to race back to South Bend myself. It's about a 3-hour drive. The race starts at 2:30. I will be in the show at Fontana on Sunday night. So you do the math on how I need to make that happen. Monday night, the action does not stop. Jacob Collins and I are going to have the IndyCar Open Series Monday night top split from Chicagoland. That's going to be at 8 p.m. And that's going to be immediately followed by the Sim Gaming Expo ISRA Open Wheel Series from Kansas at 9:35 Tuesday, the flagship broadcast. That is the IndyCar Oval Series presented by Techtopia. The top split from Nashville. That is at 8:15 p.m. On Wednesday, we have the Horizon IndyCar Series. Ryan Eric King and I will be live at 8 o'clock from Gateway. The beautiful Wreck and Murph together again, and I love calling races with that guy. The Black Magic Studios the AMA Black Magic Studios Grand National Series. Well, Sam and I are going to be right back here in 1 week's time for the Indianapolis for the Brickyard 250. And Sam, you know what? Next week also restarts. A week from tomorrow, the trucks are back at IRP.
Archway Industrial Truck Series is back.
That's right. The Archway Industrial Truck Series comes back August the 1st, 8:20, right here on the P1 Broadcasting Network for the Archway Industrial Truck Series round at IRP. For everybody at P1 Broadcasting, myself, Mark Murphy, Sam Crow, my broadcasting partner, Gary Godstar, our founder, we do want to thank all of the people who make this possible, the drivers, the fans at home. You guys are awesome. All the people that support the channel. But we also want to thank the other people that make it possible, the police, the fire, the military, the nurses, the EMTs that drive the ambulances, all of those who do the hard jobs in the middle of the night so that we can lay down safe at night and sleep in peace. We thank you, Sam.
Thank you so much.
Take the belts.
Mark.
I'm already
Can we take the
unbelted.
belt off now?
I'm already unbelted. And I got a cold can of Gatorade in my hand, my man. We will see y'all next week.
Look, Sabrina Merriman just popped into the chat to congratulate Sean. That's great. That's fantastic.
Heck yeah. Thank you so much, Sabrina. Go back and watch this one. This was awesome, Sabrina.
It was a good one.
And thank you so much for checking in.
Thank you, Mark, for everything. Thank the fans. We appreciate you. Tune in next week.
Good night, everybody.